Curtain lights, this is it, the night of nights. No more rehearsing and nursing apart. We know every part by heart. Overture, curtain lights, this is it. We'll hit the heights, and oh, what heights we'll hit. On with the show, this is it.
Hey, we're back. I'm Goose.
I'm Logan.
This is On With The Show, and it's been a couple weeks, so they've had a lot of crazy things going on. But I think the one thing we're definitely going to start with today is Harry and Meghan and their South Park debut.
Because Harry and Meghan have been a train wreck of a news story for the past couple of years, pretty much continuously. With all the stuff about whining about my dad, parents treated me so bad with his new book.
Oh my gosh!
It's basically fodder for every garbage can, you know. But anyway, so what recently happened was South Park, as they do with
everybody. Yeah, they do with everybody.
They spoofed them, and as expected, Harry and Meghan, they're suing.
Apparently, I guess what I hear, the rumors they're suing. You know.
And I don't think there's been any case of celebrities suing previously, so I don't know if they just have stick up their butts or they have zero sense of humor. But anyway, so back to what actually happened on South Park.
If you haven't seen it, it's funny as shit.
We want privacy. We want privacy. Meanwhile, they're going on and doing talk shows and
the world tour,
bunch of other things.
World tour.
Which is, I don't see why they have a problem with them being spoofed like that, because that's exactly what they're doing. They're like, we just want to, I've exited the royal family, we just want to live a normal life. Meanwhile, they have a Netflix special, they have that stupid interview with Oprah.
They have podcasts, I think, that lasted all of about 2 episodes because nobody was really listening.
No
I mean, you know, we've talked about this over and over again with them, and mostly because they run around saying how they're being mistreated, how they're how they were wronged in the royal family, how someone in the royal family circles were afraid that one of the prince or princesses was going to be was going to be black, and it was like, okay, but you know you are black, right? You know that's going to happen, right?
Yeah. It's like if they were at all worried about that, I think they would have raised the problem when Meghan entered the family, not when they might have a kid.
Yeah, it's and I get it. I understand that Harry loves his wife and he wants to protect her. He wants to protect her from the I guess you could say whatever it is, the people that follow the royal family, the paparazzi that follows the royal family, all this stuff because of what happened to his mom. I get it. He doesn't want that to happen, with his wife and his family. Guess what? First of all,
you don't avoid paparazzi by making yourself available and
to everybody,
everything the paparazzi would want.
And then to turn around and, like, whenever there's just a little bit of criticism, to complain profusely. I mean, they still talk about how Piers Morgan lost his job. Or actually, no, he didn't lose his job. He basically says, I walked out. Because when he criticized Meghan Markle, they basically told him, you either apologize or you leave, and he left. And this was Good Morning Britain, and it was like, it was a good show, and he loved doing the show, but it's like, all of a sudden, it's like she enters the picture, and everybody is like, she can't do no wrong. You can't criticize her at all. And if you do, oh my gosh, here comes the phone call from Meghan saying, you get rid of him.
Resign, or we're going to sue.
And again, it's like, then they decide to leave Britain, to leave the royal family, to live a quiet life, a private life in California, in Montecito, which is like one of the richest places to live in California, if all in the United States.
And I wouldn't expect them to go to any regular area.
You wouldn't find them in the in the ghetto in in Chicago.
Yeah.
You wouldn't
It's
find.
like, if they were moving to America, of course, you're going to think they're going to move to, like, Nantucket, Martha's Vineyard, one of those ultra exclusive rich neighborhoods, not near the common folk, the peasants.
But I think the one thing that I think gets me and I think gets us is the fact that Meghan Markle is not this huge star. She's not this huge.
Yeah, she was a star on some
star.
CW show, wasn't it? The Wire.
No. She was a supporting role in a TV show, I think on USA, called Suits.
Suits, that's right.
And by the way, The Wire was on HBO.
Wire was on HBO. I don't watch a whole lot of TV, as you could probably tell, but I just knew she was on some basic cable network.
Yeah, she was, and that was
and
it.
not even in a huge role.
She wasn't in this huge role. It wasn't like this huge big show, and don't get me wrong, Suits is a pretty good show, but it wasn't like she had this huge part. It was like she was a supporting role, a supporting character in Suits on USA. Okay, but to walk around acting like you're Grace Kelly, which, trust me, you're not. You're not Grace Kelly. You're nowhere near her league. Princess Grace, Queen of Monaco. It's like if you don't know who I'm talking about, guess what? You need to go Google.
Go watch Rear Window, Vertigo.
High Noon. All of those fantastic.
Wait, was she in Vertigo, or was that another actress?
I don't know. We'll have to look that up.
Look that up real quick.
No, that wasn't Vertigo. I don't think she was in Vertigo. It was
she was in
Rear Window. But here's the thing. South Park basically satirizes everybody. Ask Tom Cruise. They did a number on Tom Cruise, which was,
Well, I mean, when you're the most, I guess, prolific Scientologist in the world, you're making yourself a
You're making yourself, yeah. And so this is what they do. And what they did was they looked at Harry and Meghan and what they're doing and the life that they're leading right now and say, we want privacy. Only they're going out and not having much for privacy. It's like, let me tell you something. If Harry would have just decided to, I want to live a quiet life with my wife, and even go and live in Montecito, and go do all the charity work, go work the Invictus Games, go back to Africa and help all that stuff that you were doing, before you and Meghan hooked up. Basically living the life that your mother was doing. She was doing a lot of charity work when she was not with Prince Charles. She wasn't sitting there whining about, oh my gosh, he treated me so bad. He didn't love me. He wanted to be with Camilla. What am I going to do? I look so much better than she does.
Well, I mean, when you whine so much, it comes as no surprise that he didn't love you.
He didn't, And it's just... And the book is just, people, he's getting mocked. I know some people who read it, they love it. I know some people who have it, and they're laughing. Because they're like, this is what this guy is complaining about? This, my father wasn't very loving. He didn't give me a hug and tell me, good job, Chip. You're such a great person. Christ. Come on, get a fucking grip.
It does really offer an interesting insight into what rich people think are hardships.
Yeah. You're right. It's like my latte did not come with soy milk. It came with whole milk. And oh my God, what am I going to do? And now apparently they're pissed off because Prince Charles has kicked them out of their cottage, and for who?
Prince Andrew.
Prince Andrew.
Which when I heard that King Charles now had given it to Prince Andrew, it came as a surprise because wasn't Prince Andrew kicked out of the royal family just recently?
Yeah, kind of because he was of his ties with
Jeffrey Epstein and all that.
Yeah.
And so it was like, I understand Harry and Meghan getting kicked out because they're being spoiled brats, to put it lightly. But to give it to somebody who has even, I guess, worse PR than those two, doesn't make much sense.
It's funny as hell, though.
And I was like, why didn't they like give it to William and Kate? The prince and princess who aren't narcissists.
Yeah, they're not entitled. They're not titled the prince and princess.
No,
of
they're
Wales,
princess of Wales.
Which apparently, basically, Kate Middleton is now the Princess of Wales, which is what Princess Diana was.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure that goes over well with Harry right now. Mm-hmm. I mean,
but hey, it was a title once held by a woman with grace, and now it is with another.
Yep.
Not one that.
I don't know. It's just for two again, and we're gonna continue to pound this out and badger it out. And it's like for two people who are running around claiming we just want our privacy, you're doing you're doing a shitty job of it. Mm-hmm. You really are. It's like you're running around, making demands,
publishing books, getting TV deals,
getting one Netflix, deal after another, and it's like,
that doesn't scream we want privacy. That screams we want everyone's attention.
We want, yeah. So what do you think? What do you think happens? Because I can see the South Park guys just like, you want to screw with us like this? You want to take us to court? Okay, fine. And what do you think? You think they'll double down? And
they're gonna double down. They're gonna spoof them suing South Park.
Yeah.
They're gonna make this a plot like where what are they? The Prince and Princess of Canada. They're gonna sue whatever news organization was prevalent in South Park, and they're gonna get laughed at. I don't know, maybe
even more
countersued, or at least lose, because there's no reason for them to sue. Oh my God forbid somebody makes a joke about you.
I mean, but how petty does that make them seem? It makes them seem like that you got no fucking sense of humor.
They can't take a joke.
Can't take a joke. Oh my gosh, they mocked us. They showed us shooting off fireworks in our front yard and playing polo.
It makes you wonder what would happen had these people gone to public school.
I know.
They probably wouldn't be suing for one joke.
I know. Lest we forget, and let me just remind people of this, because there is a picture out there of Prince Harry in a Nazi uniform.
Oh yeah, it was at some college Halloween party.
Of course, he now blames his brother for that.
Oh boy, because Lord knows you can't take any responsibility for your own actions.
Basically, it was like, he was trying to think of the scariest thing he could be for Halloween, and he came in a Nazi uniform, and I'm like, that's great. All right, all we have to do now is find those pictures and plaster them on the front page of whatever magazine. Mm-hmm. They want to sit there and say we're great people.
It's like, you sure about that, Harry?
Yeah, I think. But again, I mean, of all things, before we go to a break, I mean, of all things, South Park has pretty much made fun of everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody.
And it just shows how sheltered
and weak
they are, that they feel they are entitled to special privileges of not getting made fun of on South Park.
Privileged.
Mm-hmm.
You feel privileged. How's that word for you? You feel privileged.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we're going to go to a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about one of your favorite people, James Corden.
Oh boy.
Who apparently now is out of a job.
Well, that just made my day.
We'll talk about that on the other side of this.
I am Goose. I am Logan. We are traveled by nature.
that being said, I'm Goose.
I am Logan.
This is Travel by Nature. Thank you for watching.
Tired, I am sore, and I just want to go to bed.
And you can do that after you take a shower.
I can take a shower in the morning.
No, you can take one now.
I don't even smell that bad.
Oh, really? You smell like a combination of body odor and butt crack, and I'm not sleeping next to that. Once in a while.
As tempting as all that sounds, I'd rather go to bed. Honey, what's wrong? Half the crew is at the bar. At least I'm here.
That's just it. Even when you're here, you're not. You're either too tired or too preoccupied.
Hey, we're back. I'm Goose.
I'm Logan.
This is On With The Show, and apparently one of your favorite people is out of a job.
And who is that?
James Corden.
Oh boy.
James Corden. He's, first of all...
If you've been watching our show, you will know I am most definitely not a fan of James Corden. I'm actually quite the opposite.
Yeah.
I despise him. I mean, especially after, well, there was Cats where he was the worst part of an already awful movie. And then when it came out, there was that debacle with the omelet in New York City.
Oh my gosh,
New York
that
City restaurant.
It just kind of shows, or not just shows, it also reaffirms that
He's out of touch?
Out of touch, you know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean? Not just out of touch, it's like you really don't know somebody. It's like the person they are in front of the camera,
Not the
another
person they are
behind,
in real life.
off the camera.
It's like, yeah, on the
It's
late
like-
late show, he's laughing, doing karaoke in a restaurant. He's yelling at a most likely minimum wage worker because you got my omelet wrong. You know, well, it wasn't his omelet; it was his wife's. But
omelet, yeah.
regardless, it's a fucking omelet.
And matter of fact, it's funny because he was kicked out. He was told never to come back. The owner said, "Don't ever come back here. We're not going to serve you anymore." And then when it came out, the news came out. Basically, James Corden was like, "I have no idea what to tell him. I mean, everything's fine." It was, and the owner was like, "Look, if you would just come back and apologize to my staff, I'll let you back." And he goes, "I know what you're talking about. Everything's just fine." He couldn't even own up to it. He couldn't even own up to it. It's like going back to Ellen DeGeneres, who was like one person in front of the camera.
On Ellen, she seems like such a fun host for all her guests. In reality, behind the scenes, she's a see you next Tuesday.
Yeah, she really is. But it just seemed like here's a person that's just he's one person in front of the camera. He's a totally different person off the camera. And that news gets out really quick, when you're dealing with the public. So it says here, and I heard this a couple of weeks ago. I heard this, and I brought this to your attention. You're like, your smile came to his face.
Yep.
So apparently, James Corden. This is according to Variety. James Corden's Late Late Show sign off April 27th of this year. He is looking to end it in a big way. He basically took over the show in March of 2015. And on Thursday, he had a primetime special to help mark the occasion. I guess he's performing.
Oh yeah, mark the occasion. You're out of a job.
He's apparently doing a big sketch in Pantages Theater with Tom Cruise, and I guess to really sign off. But here's the funny. Here's the interesting thing. Corden is leaving the show by choice, according to people familiar with the matter. And CBS is set to replace the hour with a reboot of At Midnight, a former Comedy Central wee hours game show, in a maneuver to cut costs and revive the programming concept controlled by the networks.
What's it replaced with?
At Midnight.
At Midnight. And who's supposed to post that?
I don't know, it doesn't say. Hopefully it's not James Corden.
Yeah, hopefully not.
But apparently, it's but it's the parent company. Paramount owns it. Our good friend Stephen Colbert is the executive producer of it.
So you're telling me you get rid of one of the most unlikable late night hosts, only to replace him with another one of the most unlikable late night hosts?
I don't know.
Not really a recipe for a winning show.
I don't know if Colbert is going to be the host for it, because the decision was indicative of the additional scrutiny TV executive to replace her on the late night TV ideas.
Well, I mean, regardless of whether or not he has an on-screen presence on the show, you said he still had a producer role, and they're pretty much in charge of everything almost. So whatever Colbert says is going to end up in the show pretty much. So.
Well, I mean, let's just look at this. Look at this. Lily Singh takes over for Carson Daly. Her show, and he was on the air for 19 years. Mm-hmm. 19 years.
So why did Carson Daly step down if
he just
want a break?
I think. Well, I mean, Carson Daly's also on the Today Show. Mm-hmm. He's on The Voice. I think he's just a busy guy, and I think it's just like, hey, I think I need to. He's been doing it for 19 years. I think it was just time for him to
hand it off to somebody else. Get a break.
And a little late with Lily Singh lasted all of 3 seasons, and we were shocked that it lasted 3 seasons.
Lasted that long because even from its pilot episode, it was already hailed as the worst thing most people had ever seen.
Yeah,
it might be going a little too far, but I mean, I watched it myself, and when it's supposed to be a late night show, you know it's supposed to be funny. When you sit and watch it and you don't crack a smile, you know something's wrong.
Something wrong, yeah, something so. But apparently, as a matter of fact, we also talks about this here. That David Letter's retirement in 2015 spurred a flurry of experimentation in the day part with BET, TBS, HBO, among the new concepts here. Mm-hmm. The traditional late night seems to be shrinking. Warner Media did not replace Conan O'Brien when he left the late night. When he left.
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess I get what they're saying. The late night genre is not what it used to be.
NBC did not replace Lily Singh, thank God. After 2 seasons of her 1 a.m. program, A Little Late. Mm-hmm. Comedy Central, which posted 3 late night programs, now only airs 1. Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, it doesn't really make sense in the first place because, when people got work, school, stuff in the morning, it doesn't really make sense in the first place to have 3 late night shows, one after the other. Like, I get people staying up past, what do most late night shows start at?
11:30. Yeah.
11:30? That's reasonable, but when you got a show that starts at, 1, 2 o'clock, that's just...
I mean, Gutfeld starts at 11, mm-hmm. but 11 o'clock is usually that's the hour for late night news. Mm-hmm. But he is, of all things, Gutfeld over on Fox is the king of late night. I mean, he's beating out
Fallon, the major hosts and networks.
And so it's just, it seems like the whole genre right now is starting to shrink. It's like at first.
Yeah, as I just said, it's not what it used to be. You don't have Cavett, Carson, Leno, Letterman. Now you just got a bunch of unfunny political hacks.
Yeah.
Who are going around claiming to be comedians.
And someone's trying to call me. I will talk to them after the show. So anyway. But it's just, again, it was like James Corden, I think at the time, he was considered like the darling because you know,
I mean, he had been on some like British sitcom. He had been in Into the Woods, and at that point, he was still not universally regarded as the unfunniest man in Hollywood. And so, yeah, you know, he was mostly in everybody's favor, and that's how he got the show. But as stuff comes out, like the "you made my omelet wrong," you know.
Yeah, it's not only that, but he was also a really fresh face too, because he was doing things that were different in late night.
Yeah, because I know late night was mostly, you know, interview. I think at that point, it was just like
monologue
interviews.
Monologue interview. Here's our musical guest. Have a good night. Carson was a little different. He would do his monologue. He'd have a little skit. He would introduce the first guest. I think he'd have like 2 or 3 guests on. Sometimes they were stand-up comedians. Sometimes he had a musical act. But Leno followed in the same direction, mostly in the same direction. And Corden took it to a different level. Corden took it to like, you know, he would come out. He would, you know, of course, he would do a monologue. He would do a big skit. He would do, carpool karaoke. People got all the, oh my god!
I think that's why
this is fresh. This is new.
Became so popular in the first place was because he was against the traditional format of late night television. He brought in a lot of the games and such. I don't know if he started doing that before Fallon did, because I know that's another thing Fallon does a lot.
Fallon does likes to do the games, but he likes to bring out his guests, and it's almost like a pre-interview thing. It's like, let's do a game with one of our guests, and so it's like, and they'll do something, or they'll be doing it like. I mean, I've seen Fallon like interview like Kate McKinnon, who all of a sudden, I hear you do a great impersonation of so and so, and she'll like, she'll talk about it, and then she'll start doing the impersonation, and it's like, oh, that's great, but it's like, what has happened is, and I think this has happened, especially since 2016, where all of a sudden late night has died because it's all political
commentary,
you know.
And what's even funnier is I once saw a video where it was showing different late night hosts on the same day, and they all had the same headlines. It was all the same like anti-Trump stuff, and it's like, I think that's another reason why late night is dying, is because there's no real variety in what you're seeing. It's just going to be the same garbage said by a different person. Yeah,
and I think that's where Gutfeld succeeds, because even though he has, I'll call them back. Even though Gutfeld has 4 guests, and usually 1 or 2 of them are comedians, and then he'll have a political person. He had. I mean, there are times. I mean, he had John Tapper on there one time.
Really?
Yeah, it was a really good show.
Oh, yeah.
He's had Mike Rowe on there. He's had he's had Piers Morgan on there. You know, he has, you know, he does sometimes have things that are political, but it's kind of, you know, it's kind of like tongue in cheek. It's like, you know, it's usually just, there's something funny about whatever it is that they're talking about, and even though sometimes the topics can be serious, it's, you know, he actually puts a comedic slant on it. Whereas when you watch Colbert, you know, I don't know who Colbert has hired as his writers, but it has just become just one
giant political soapbox.
You know, and he doesn't even have. I mean, almost all of his, you know, his guests are like political guests now. It's like he's totally switched.
Just regular celebrity guests. 'Cause I know that's another thing late night's known for. It's to have a celebrity on there, have a nice little interview, promote their latest project. But yeah, you're right. It's all. Even the guests are straight politics.
Yeah, it's actually funny. One of my favorite. Before we go to a break, I wanted to. I'll ask you a couple questions. But one of my favorite late night shows to watch was with Bob Costas. Bob Costas had an interview show that I think was like 30 minutes long, maybe an hour long, and he would have guests on there, and he would basically just. It was a straight interview. It would be like, you know. it would be like you and I are sitting in chairs, and how's it going? Okay, hey, so I hear your early career, you would go, oh yeah, we used to like go out to the beach and just jump in the ocean sometimes, and it would just be straight like common, talk, and it was fascinating because some of the people he had different people from different walks of life. I remember he did a two-night interview show with Mel Brooks. And as they're signing off the first night, he goes, "We're going to be back tomorrow. And we'll be back tonight with the second half of this interview." Mel Brooks goes, "And we'll be naked!" And so they come back the next night, and they're sitting there, and they have like blankets around them. And Bob Costas is like, "Well, you said we'd be naked. Here we are."
I'm going to have to try to find that.
But of course, they weren't naked. They were wearing pants and everything underneath, but they were like shirtless. And it was hysterical. And that's just the kind of part. But he had different people from all walks of life, on his show, and it was just fascinating. It was a fascinating show, and he's a great interviewer. And I wish that maybe in some ways they'd kind of maybe do something like that again, because I don't think they need to like do something different with the late night genre. I think what they've got now with the 3 or 4 shows that they've got, the different networks is fine. I think they just need, after Fallon is off the air, after Colbert's off, they find something else that they can put in a spot.
Because late night is not that popular.
No.
So I wouldn't see the point with when you get rid of all these shows just to replace them with another one.
So the question I'm going to ask you before we go to break is, where do you think Colbert lands, or Corden? Where do you think Corden lands? Where do you think he goes now? Now that he's done with his show and he's not getting omelets from restaurants, where do you think he goes from here?
I don't know. I mean, probably YouTube, because he's gotten such a terrible reputation. I don't see anybody being really eager to hire him.
I mean, you think he'll end up like? I mean, I could see. I don't think he'll be like leading man movie thing, but I think he'll basically like do what he did with Cats and be like part of an ensemble. Probably,
I see him doing that, but I don't see him ever being a headliner, I guess.
No.
Well,
I just thought I'd ask that. So we're going to go to a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about a rather, I don't want to say serious topic that's coming around. And we want to address this. We're going to address it as delicately as we can in the same style that we have as we can. We'll be right back.
Hey, how's it going, man? Hey, sorry I missed the funeral. I couldn't miss work.
That's alright, I need your help with something.
So what's with the trunk?
Ooh!
I can't believe she gave you the house. I did everything for her. Cooked, cleaned.
And robbed her blind.
I only took what I deserved. She owed it to me.
So why did you call me? I need your help to get rid of it. What makes you think I can help?
Your grandma was a wonderful person. She used to always tell me, Ellen, all you have is your name, so make it a good one.
What is that?
What does it look like?
I don't know. I've never seen it before.
Well, maybe we could burn it. No, then the fire department will be here in minutes.
I don't know what all the fuss is about. That woman wasn't that pure.
Remember what she told us, Gary. All you have is your name.
Hey, we're back. I'm Goose.
I'm Logan.
This is On With The Show, and we're going to talk about something we've kind of been, I don't know if we've been trying to avoid this topic, or if it's like, we want to talk about it. We want to talk about it, but we want to tiptoe around it because
it's a bit of a touchy subject.
It's a bit of a touchy subject. And basically, I was like, well, we don't want to be demonetized. The thing is, with this channel, we're not monetized, so it's not. But we know
it's not going to matter.
Not gonna matter. We'll probably get flagged or something will happen. But we, I felt because we're gonna talk about Dylan Mulvaney. And the reason we're talking about Dylan Mulvaney is because apparently he's now getting a lot of backlash from people online and on YouTube and on TikTok. And so if you don't know who Dylan Mulvaney is, you're one of the few people who don't.
Rose to prominence doing this is my something day of being a girl, and that's how Dylan Mulvaney rose to like the public eye. I mean, Dylan had already done Broadway. I think they were in the Book of Mormon.
Book of Mormon.
That's what they were most famous for before the TikTok thing. But then that's how Dylan really got into the spotlight. And then Dylan did that like facial reconstruction
I'm not
thing.
too sure about that. Yeah. I know that here's the thing, and that is that Dylan Mulvaney's been doing these TikTok videos of, it's like you said, it's my first day or my 10th day or my 100th day of being a woman or being a girl, and goes over, what the events that happened in that day, and some of the things are rather interesting and some of them are rather comical. But this is how he's gotten his notoriety, and he's gotten his notoriety through, of all places, TikTok. And let me just be upfront with everything right now. I think TikTok has become the new Twitter.
Yeah,
it is.
I mean, luckily, at least as far as my experience with TikTok, it's not as toxic as Twitter is, like, as a whole. But there are definitely like some really toxic people.
Toxic people on TikTok. But apparently, I'm going to basically just start with this. And apparently, if you, Michael Knowles, whatever your opinion is of Michael Knowles, is yours. But he did an interesting little video on Dylan Mulvaney on YouTube. And basically, he wasn't bashing Dylan Mulvaney. He wasn't, misgendering Dylan Mulvaney or whatever it says. But what he basically said was he went over the different types of acting, and you know about this because you're studying acting. It's like Uta Hagen and was it Strasberg? Is it Strasberg?
Lee Strasberg.
Strasberg.
Konstantin Stanislavski.
Yeah, a lot of these different methods of acting, and so he went over this and basically talked about Dylan Mulvaney was an actor. He was in the Book of Mormon. He was a very good singer. And he pulled up an interview that Dylan had done where he was upset. Dylan was upset that he was only getting male roles. He was only getting men roles. He wasn't getting any other roles, like for females or for women. And Dylan was upset about that. He thought, I should be able as an actor to be able to do any type of role I want. This was in an interview, and so it was kind of interesting because as an actor, sometimes as an actor you want to do the kind of like Some Like It Hot kind of roles, where it's like you want to challenge yourself. You know what I'm saying? But apparently Dylan was offended that he was only getting male roles. Well, Dylan, I'm sorry to tell you, but you're biologically a man, so that was probably the reason why you were only getting male roles. So he then goes on and basically shows when the pandemic happened, your favorite word, pandemic. When the pandemic happened and Broadway closed, Dylan Mulvaney had nothing to do with sit at home and stare at the TV. And then opened up this great thing that he could experiment with called TikTok. And be able to, I can be anybody I want on TikTok. I can be a woman. And lo and behold, Dylan Mulvaney does his first. This is my first day as a woman. Today, I
blew up.
I cried for no reason, and I bought 3 dresses that I couldn't afford. And when
a scathing email I did not send.
And when someone asked me how I was, I said I was fine when I wasn't. How did I do? And apparently, I guess people were like, I know this one woman basically replied to like, so what you've described is an emotionally unhinged woman that can't manage her own finances.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know, the biggest controversy I believe that came out of it was that a lot of the things he did as being a girl were stuff that has been traditionally a stereotype.
Yeah,
woman, a misogynistic stereotype. So it's like when you go on that, I think people were skeptical because they were probably thinking he was a troll.
Yeah,
but
when I first saw it, I was like, "What the hell is this?"
Mm-hmm. That's what I thought too.
We were like, "What the hell is this?" And again, I thought it was when I first saw it, I thought it was a joke.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was a joke. I'm like, what man would dress up as a? And trust me, I was born and raised near San Francisco. I've seen everything. Okay, men dressed as women, women dressed as men. 2 men dancing with each other. 2 women kissing each other. I've seen it. Okay, and again, I could be sitting here and be totally wrong and say Dylan Mulvaney is not. Dylan Mulvaney is a trans person. I could be totally wrong. He could be an actual trans woman, but. Whenever I see him on TikTok, whenever I see him talk about, this is my 50th day as a woman, and this is what I did, something screams at me that something's off. Something's not right. I'm not saying he's lying. I'm not saying that he's a fraud or a fake. He could be totally genuine as a trans woman. But something screams at me that this is wrong. This is off. Something's not right here. And I've expressed that to people because it seems like whenever he's done his video TikTok for the day, whatever he does, it comes off as stereotype. Mm-hmm. And you brought up an interesting term that you heard about, about what he's doing. That is what it's called, woman.
Oh yeah, that's what a lot of people were calling it was woman face because, as I mentioned, a lot of what he was doing were very stereotyped things. So. But
here he is. He now has like millions of followers.
Mm-hmm. He came out with the facial reconstruction thing, where it was like got the to get a feminine jawline. Which when I saw that, I was like. Okay, I guess then Dylan is legit about this because, as I said when I first saw it, I thought it was supposed to be a troll because of how everything he was doing was a stereotype, but apparently not. I guess
he has he gets an audience with the president of the United States. That was a big freaking deal. I'm like all because he just became a TikTok trans star, but lately. And lately things are kind of like, I don't know how to say this, but he's not handling the criticism. Mm-hmm. He has come out because people have called him a man. He has now said, that should be illegal. It should be illegal for you to call me a man.
Like, even regardless of the trans issue, you just gotta, for lack of a better word, man up.
Yeah.
Learn to take the punches and brush them off,
Yeah,
no matter what you do, people are gonna make fun of you for one reason or another, and when you get all upset about it, it's just adding, fuel to the fire.
Yeah.
They know they're getting at you. They're not gonna stop if you keep giving them what they want.
And that's the thing, is like I've dealt with people, I've produced shows where people get, they get, I wish you could say hate mail. They get, they're haters, they get their trolls, they get people who are sending them nasty, comments, and they're like, I remember having one person was like, why would they say that? Why would they say that about me? Why would they say that, Goose? I didn't do anything. I was just
don't have anything better to do.
And I would look at this person, and I would say, because what you're saying is getting to them. What you're saying, the truth that you're bringing out is getting to them. They don't want to hear the truth. They want to avoid it. And so what they're going to do is they're going to say nasty, mean things to you. To get you to kind of, because they know that if they can get you to emotionally break down, they'll get you to stop. Here's, and again, I mean, I watched Dylan Mulvaney, and I just don't buy it.
No, I get that.
I mean,
this is just an issue where I try to avoid having a clear stance on, because it's just one thing where no matter what you say, somebody's going to get pissy at you.
And again, I could be totally wrong. I can be totally wrong. He can be totally. But again, with the idea that he had that interview where he was like upset that I'm only getting men roles and I don't want to play a woman. Okay, well, and of course, what is the biggest stage in all the world?
Broadway.
TikTok. Everybody.
I thought you were talking about literal
stage. Yeah, literal stage Broadway. Where he's already performed. But the biggest stage in the world.
Yeah,
TikTok.
Social media.
TikTok. And again, for me though, it's like I've for a lot of the things I've seen on TikTok, I just sit there. I mean, we have a TikTok account. I haven't put anything on TikTok for weeks because I've been busy working on all our other stuff.
I don't post on TikTok.
And it's just
watch funny videos.
I know people who post on TikTok pretty regularly, and they have these nice. They show parts of what they're doing in their life. But it's like there are some people on TikTok who are like, oh my god, you're it's almost
they're broadcasting the train wreck that is their life.
That is their life. And someone once told me, they said that TikTok has become basically the one place where people can go and be a freak and get applauded for it
instead of a bunch of stares.
Yeah. And again, I mean, I'm going to keep reiterating this. I could be totally wrong. But something just concerns me when I see him, it looks like he's not handling his trolls really well. He's not handling his critics very well. He's not handling his haters very well. He's become very defensive. I mean, and let me tell you something, Dylan. You're gonna have to just let that. If this is what you want to do, you're gonna have to just
take negative comments in stride.
And take them in stride. You're gonna have to just if someone calls you a man, I mean, just kind of like comically say, just like how you handled the bulge, you're just gonna have to just go out with pride, because I find that the reason that when people have a hard time with their trolls, it's because their trolls are poking at some type of truth that doesn't want to be revealed. And you have, like I said, you have millions of followers. You've become this huge social media star. You're getting, you got you got to sit in front of the president asking questions. I mean, you're gonna need to kind of have to figure out a way how to handle this.
Like, if you want to be on such a giant platform and become famous, you gotta realize there's a lot of negatives that come with being famous, and you can't just, make a fuss about it.
You can't make a fuss about it, because for you to sit there and say it should be illegal for you to call me a man, you're just going to make your haters grow even more and sit there and call you a man. All right? I am also going to point out very, very delicately, Mr. Mulvaney, that you do have the body of a man. And until you make that commitment to where you're going to fully transition over, you're going to keep getting that criticism. So, like I said, we've been trying to figure out how to talk about this for weeks, because it's a delicate situation here. and we want to be as respectful as possible, but we also want to be able to give our opinions without feeling like we're being, silenced or censored or whatever. But that's basically what we're going to talk about as far as this topic is concerned. Before we go, I wanted to bring up one other thing to talk to you about. Apparently, the big Super Bowl ad for The Flash looks like it is going to be, the Flashpoint is going to be the jumping off point for the new
they're going to do a
DCU.
new DC phase.
The new DC phase.
It's odd to start a whole new chapter in their franchise on such a controversial movie.
Right.
And it's like the movie itself, I guess, isn't controversial. It's just when your star is Ezra Miller.
I think what they're hoping is that it's now been so far out that people are not going to remember as much.
No, that is not.
I think that's what they're
going
hoping
to happen at all. It's still fresh in people's minds.
He did bring up James Gunn did bring up something that I thought was interesting, and he did say that anything outside of what they're doing is going to be like it's a separate entity. So, in other words, like things like the Batman and Shazam could continue, but it would be outside of the DCU that they're creating.
I guess we'll just have to see how this plays out once The Flash is finally released. See if it's going to suffer because of Ezra Miller's presence, or if it's still going to succeed.
But
regardless.
I think it'll be interesting. Apparently, we thought they were going to go send it to HBO Max, but apparently no.
They're going to send it out to
theaters. They're putting it out to theaters, and I think that some people are excited because they are using the Flashpoint idea with him changing time. That it'll be that's what's going to be able to kick off the new DCU, and I'm excited about it. I know that the issues with Ezra Miller were prominent, but who knows? Maybe this might be the one thing that kind of I don't want to get his career back on track. I don't know.
Dude needs to get his life back on track.
But I just wanted to bring that up before we go because it looks like it's going to be good. They're releasing the pre-sale thing within the next
couple months.
Next couple months, and we're already about ready to get our tickets for Shazam 2. So because that looks really good, and if they're going to continue with Shazam 2 or Shazam after Shazam 2, I think that would be pretty cool because Zachary Levi kicks ass.
Oh yeah,
as Shazam. So, and I'm hoping that James Gunn keeps his promise and letting that all play out outside of what he's doing. That would be pretty good. All right. That is the end of the show today. Logan, if they want to check us out anywhere else, where they go?
If you want to find all the links to our social medias, you can find them at withkoji.com/@travelbynature. They can find links to our other YouTube channel, Travel by Nature, as well as our Instagram pages, our TikTok, our Twitters. We also have an Ask Me Anything tab and a tip jar, if you're so generous.
You can also find the links to all the different podcasts that this presents on, whether it's SoundCloud, Spotify,
iHeartRadio, and now Audible.
So you find us on Audible as we continue to expand our brand. We're having a lot of good time putting this together. If there's a way they want to help out the channel, what would you do?
You can hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and share to your friends.
Yeah, share it to your friends. Leave us a comment. Makes us smile. But from here at the On With The Show studios in Bakersfield, California, I'm Goose.
I'm Logan.
This is On With The Show. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next week.
Curtain lights. This is it. The night of nights. No more rehearsing and nursing a part. We know every part by heart. Overture. Curtain lights. This is it. We'll hit the heights. And oh, what heights we'll hit. On with the show. This is it.